So I decided to play Dragon Age Inquisition on a whim, and I'm really glad that I did. After the announcement of Elder Scrolls 6 and currently binge watching Game of Thrones for the second time, I've been itching for a medieval time single player game, and it so happens without knowing, this game was released 10 years ago in 2014 and was also that year's Game of the Year. After playing the game for about 2 hours, I completely understand why. You start almost immediately into the character creation after an unknown massive explosion takes place at a peace conference between the Mages and the Templars, two factions at war with each other. I was somewhat impressed with the character creation as it doesn't really do anything new, even for a game that's 10 years old, but you do choose between 5 different races: humans, elves, dwarves, or the Quanori. I'm sure I butchered that, but being the basic bitch that I am, I did choose to play as a human. And upon choosing your race, you were brought to choose a class: Rogue, which is a dual-wielding fighter, and that's the one that I went with; two-handed warrior, archer, weapon and shields, or mage. After choosing your class, the explosion at the beginning of the game creates a tear in the veil, the boundary separating the world of Thedas from the Fade, a realm of demons and spirits. The main character is the sole survivor of this explosion and emerges with a mysterious mark on their hand capable of closing rifts in the veil. This is also where you are able to change the look of your character. But really, like most RPGs, you can choose to be male, female, change your hair color, eye color, complexion, scars, tattoos, and so on. It doesn't really do anything new, but the level of detail in a game that is 10 years old is pretty incredible. But as the game progresses, you soon become the leader of the newly re-established Inquisition, an organization that aims to restore order and combat the growing chaos in Thedas. Your primary goal is to close the breach, a massive rift in the veil, and to investigate its cause. Throughout the game, the Inquisitor makes alliances, gathers a team of diverse characters, and makes decisions that affect the world's political, religious, and social landscape. The player's choices throughout the game influence the story's outcome, including the fate of the characters and entire nations. The game also features romance options, which we have all seen in the Mass Effect series, character customization, and a tactical combat system. Now, as far as the combat, it does consist of taking control of any character in your party or opening the tactical camera to get a complete overview of the battlefield, allowing you to attack close or faraway enemies with specific party members. Now, to me, this is kind of where the game opens up. If you get bored of fighting one way, you can completely change the way that you fight, but I really didn't use the tactical point of view that often, just because I'm someone that loves to grind one specific character and completely just improve them throughout the entire game with different armor sets, different skills, and I'm, for the most part, with RPGs, just a one-character kind of guy. Now, as far as companions, in this game, companions actually help in combat compared to a lot of other single-player games where they get stuck in corners, consistently get down, or, for whatever reason, only use 10% of what their character can actually do. So, for example, during the first boss fight, I was able to close the rift that was powering the boss, while my companions did the heavy lifting, taking and dealing damage. For once in a video game, I wasn't the primary target for every enemy on the battlefield. It really gave me that feeling of being part of something bigger than just myself and my character. So without me, my party is useless, but without my party, I'm not getting very far in this journey. And another example of this is while in combat fighting a heavy armored enemy, members of my party would rally behind that enemy that I was fighting and freeze them with magic, making it easier for me to cause damage without getting attacked, while another party member would stab my enemies in the back, helping me deplete the enemy's health. And I just thought this was such a cool asset to Dragon Age and just an RPG in general, because we are so used to, for whatever reason, fighting by ourselves in a world that is meant to be a journey with other NPCs and allies that join us throughout our adventures through these incredible worlds. It's just something that really felt as if you were part of something bigger than just me, myself, being the hero of everything. I also want to mention how alive the world feels. So in this one camp, we have allies that are scouting the area. We have this big enemy back here that is just nonchalantly leaning on his sword, as someone would do when they're just sitting there waiting for a command, because all of that armor gets heavy, man. No one's just going to sit there in a straight pose for hours or days on end. And then you have this group over here kind of planning out a battle. Everything in a camp just seems as if it's alive and there's a specific purpose to each individual, which was just really cool to see. I also want to really quickly mention that getting this game on Steam was probably, I think, $4, and it came with all of the DLC as well, which is just crazy for the amount of content you get for $5. But I believe because I got this edition of the game, it also included all of these incredible armor sets that were actually double the armor in the stats that I had at the beginning of the game. So as soon as I got to a certain point, the game just kind of gave me all of this incredible armor. And I haven't found anything yet that was better than the stats of these pieces of armor. But again, I'm still pretty new as far as my adventure into the game. I'm only about 2 to 3 hours into it. But within an hour, I had all of this really cool looking armor, which is just a incredible perk. All of this DLC, all of these new armor sets for $5, and I'm sure it's that exact same price on a console, but on a PC, again, it was, I think it may have been less than $5 for all of this content that is probably over 100 hours worth. It's just, the value here is something you don't really see that often in a video game. Now, each quest giver you come across has a different quest based on their own lives. Nothing new to the RPG genre, but it is still something that I should mention because it seems like every single quest has some sort of uniqueness based on the event taking place in the world. For example, I came across a quest giver and there was some sickness going on in his village and his wife contracted this illness. So my quest was to go out and find the cure for this illness for his wife, which was just something really, really fun to do. I felt like I was actually helping something in the world. It wasn't just go here, kill 5 wolves, and come back. It was really, truly something unique based on the specific area that I was in. Now, the big question is, will I continue to play this game after this video? And I can loosely say yes, meaning it didn't necessarily grab my attention enough to want to play all 100 plus hours immediately or within a month, but I can see myself going back to the game anytime I get an itch to play an RPG or medieval style game. I genuinely had a fun time playing it and understand there is a lot this game has to offer. And certainly for $5 to $10 or however much it is whenever this video gets released, for over 100 hours of content, I'd be crazy not to suggest picking this game up.